We moved into our new home during the summer, filled with excitement and hope. The neighborhood seemed perfect, but there was one unsettling rule: never open the blinds after dark. My dad, ever the rule follower, took it seriously and locked the blinds every evening. At first it seemed silly, a quirky local superstition. But every night, without fail, we heard faint whistling outside, drifting closer and closer to our house. It was eerie, but my parents assured us it was harmless. One night, my friend Holden stayed over. Curious as always, he joked about unlocking the blinds to see what was outside. I warned him about the rule, but he brushed it off, grinning. Hours passed, and after everyone else had gone to bed, Holden confessed. "I might have borrowed the key to the blinds from your dad's room." My heart sank. He wasn't lying. I could see the key in his hand. I ran to my parents' room to check if he was telling the truth. The air felt heavy with dread as I stepped inside, the faint whistling louder than ever. It wasn't just outside. It sounded like it was coming from their room. I froze, unsure of what to do, before running back to the living room. Holden stood by the window, fumbling with the lock on the blinds. My younger sister Nola was beside him, wide-eyed and scared. Before I could stop him, Holden released the blinds. A sharp snap. The blind shot open. The whistling stopped. I grabbed Nola, shielding her from the window, and squeezed my eyes shut. "Don't look," I whispered. "Don't turn around." The room was silent, except for Holden's shaky breaths. When I finally dared to reach out, I found the string and yanked the blinds shut again. When I opened my eyes, Holden was pale, trembling like a leaf. His lip bled where he'd bitten it, and he wouldn't speak. My parents burst into the room, alarmed by the noise. My dad's face darkened when he saw the open blind. "Just Holden?" he mouthed to me. I nodded. Before we could process what happened, a knock came at the door. The knock wasn't loud, but it echoed in the silence. My dad motioned for us to stay put as he walked to the door. He didn't open it. Instead, he called out, "Who's there?" No answer. The knock came again, this time more forceful. My dad turned to us, his voice low and firm. "Stay away from the windows. Don't move." Holden was still frozen, staring blankly at the carpet. My mom held Nola close, whispering softly to calm her. I crept closer to Holden and whispered, "What did you see?" His lips trembled, and he managed to choke out, "It was smiling, but it didn't have eyes." A chill ran down my spine. The knocking turned into pounding. My dad moved faster now, shutting off the lights and motioning for us to huddle in the center of the room. "Don't look outside," he warned again, his voice shaking. The pounding stopped. For a moment, the silence was almost worse. Then we heard it, a soft shuffle, as if something was moving along the side of the house. The whistling started again, faint but unmistakable. It circled the house, slow and deliberate. Nola whimpered. My mom clutched her tighter, stroking her hair to keep her calm. My dad crouched near the front door, his ear pressed against it, listening. And then the voice came. "Let me in." It was soft, almost polite, but there was something off about it. The tone was wrong, like it didn't belong to a person. It repeated, slower this time. "Let me in." Holden flinched, burying his face in his hands. My dad didn't respond. He gestured for us to stay quiet. The voice called out again, but it wasn't coming from the door anymore. It was at the window. "Let me in." I squeezed my eyes shut, fighting the urge to look. It spoke again, louder now from a different side of the house. "Let me in." The whistling grew louder, faster, circling us. My dad whispered, "It's testing us. Don't respond. Don't move." We sat there, paralyzed by fear, until finally the sounds began to fade. The whistling grew softer, the voice more distant. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually the night was still. My dad didn't let us move until sunrise. When he finally opened the blinds, nothing was out of place. The yard was undisturbed, the street empty. But none of us felt safe anymore. Holden left that morning. He refused to talk about what he saw, but his parents moved out of town within the week. My dad reinforced the blinds, added locks, and strictly reminded us to never ever break the rule again. To this day, I don't know what Holden saw that night. But I do know one thing. Whatever it was waiting for the blinds to open, for us to let it in. And we came terrifyingly close to giving it what it wanted. If you made it this far, you're brave enough to face the unknown. But don't forget, the rules matter. If you enjoyed this story, like the video, subscribe for more chilling tales, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. Who knows? Maybe they'll think twice before looking out their window at night.